Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 2, Episode 235. It's going to be a wonderful day. Hope you guys are doing well today. Woke up this morning to the sound of rain on my window, and it is definitely raining. It is 40 degrees outside and have a nice steady rain going. One thing that I absolutely hate is bad weather. As I've gotten older, I've gotten less daring with my driving, although I may drive fast. Lots of times I don't like to drive in bad weather as much as I used to. But we're okay. We're on our way here early. I actually laid in bed for a minute after I woke up for once because it wasn't a huge rush to get out the door. I still got out the door before 7 a.m. and we're on our way. Today we're going to be playing 2 slot casinos. We're going to be playing a single or double session at a Blackjack casino, and then we're going to be playing 2 to 3 more slot casinos. Our goal today is going to be between $1,000 and $1,500 profit. Yesterday I believe was about $1,900 profit, and yesterday was the big poker game, and we did not do well. By the time I went to sleep, we were ahead about, now I don't have this much money in there, I have a percentage. We were ahead about $300,000, and when I woke up, we were down about $300,000. So I don't know exactly where things ended up, but I probably lost a little bit on that. I'd say probably 15% or so on that. I'm going to keep the money in there though, and let it keep rolling. Overall, my player has done very well. Last year was his first $1 million winning year. This year should be much more than that. I haven't seen the numbers yet, but should be a lot more than that. It is still dark outside. I can't tell, but probably, obviously, if it's raining, probably cloudy out. A little bit of fog still, even though it's raining. A little bit unusual, but I'm on my way, so I'm going to let you go for now, and I'll be back and update you. Alright guys, I am back. I go into that place, and I'm looking around, there's nothing to be found. They're also pulling out all the money from yesterday, all the little drawers that have the money in them, and switching them out with fresh ones. As I'm walking around, so I'm trying to avoid those guys while I'm trying to check machines. And I get about a third of the way through checking, and I see my friend checking machines as well, and we start talking for a while. We walked around and checked them all together, and I was surprised. I thought that he got there much earlier, and I guess he normally does. So I thought the fact that I found no place was because of him, but someone was there before us, and you could see a trail of what they left behind them. So he and I walked around, and we talked for a while, and we talked about the sneaky things that people do. He told me that his home base used to be an Indian casino, and he was friends with the top guy at that casino, and he had built a rapport with him that whenever a machine was in good position, this was 20 years ago, when a machine was in good position, at that time it was mostly 99% must hit buys, that the guy would turn off the machine and wait for him to get there, and they would split it 50-50. Can you imagine the legality of that, especially these days? What would happen? He still says that he brings in snacks and stuff for the people in this area, which is something that another guy I know does in his area, but the other guy's a lot more aggressive, where he'll actually pay people out as well for locking a machine for him until he gets there. So I've talked about that before, I think. Anyway, only found one short play, played it through, and ended down $3 on it, but it was a good conversation that we had, and it was good to get a little bit more rapport with this guy, because he is a good guy. He has a lot of knowledge. He's been around for a while, and it's good to be friends with people. So He even told me about some of the people that annoyed him, and they go through and sabotage the machines so that other people who are checking them waste their time. And this guy does something to let me know that he's been there, to let other people know that he's been there, so we don't waste our time. But these other people purposefully do the opposite so that you do waste your time, and they slow you down. So they're not very nice. But anyway, still very rainy. It's actually probably worse right now. Temperature's 43 degrees right now, and I'm heading off to the second place. I should be there. You know, I didn't really look at my calendar for today, but I assume I have a 10 o'clock meeting, and if I do, I should be getting this place just before that, which would be a disaster. Yeah, I've got a 10 o'clock to 11 meeting. Let me check here. Yeah, I'm probably going to have like 15 minutes in this place before my meeting, so I'm going to have to just make sure I'm very efficient. I don't want to speed up too much with the weather the way it is, but my other choice would be to skip the next place completely and do the meeting in the car, but I'm going to go for it. So letting you go for now, moving on to the next spot. I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back as a guy is crossing in front of me at a traffic light that is green, and he's just taking his sweet time, holding his pants up, walking in front of me. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Jaywalking on a green light with a car coming and just taking your sweet time. Anyway, alright, we're a little bit behind here. Let me catch you up on what's going on. I went into that next place, and I had 20 minutes before my meeting, and I used about 18 minutes of it, and just looked at everything. I really didn't miss anything. I was able to check everything out and did all right. Ended up ahead and $182 plus 182, and in fact, most of the money came from one play that was 5 quarters per spin. There was 2 spins away from hitting the jackpot, and you know, pushed the button twice and got my money and walked away. So went back to the car just in time for my meeting to start, and you know, I got my headset on, noise canceling and all that kind of stuff, and start driving. It's still raining. It was still raining. It's still raining now, and this is a couple hours later. Did my meeting in the car on my drive to my next casino. I get to the next casino, finish up the meeting in the car, and actually part of the meeting I did on mute in the casino when I was walking around looking at slots. I only found one slot to play, and I played that through and ended up ahead $9 on slots. And I go to the high limit blackjack, and there are only 2 tables open. One is a good 6 deck. They had just started the shoe, no mid-shoe entry. And the other one is a bad double deck, and there were 3 people on it. So I take another lap, and I come back around, and the person was gone from that 6 deck table, but now a new person was there, and they had just started a new shoe again. So what are you gonna do? I decided, I looked over, the double deck was no longer, there was no one at the double deck anymore, so I reluctantly went there because the rules aren't great, but depending on the dealer I can get good penetration. Normally they cut it in half, and the dealer that was there happened to be someone that I used to buy food for. In fact, he told me that he never ate chicken fajitas until I bought them for him, and since then everywhere he goes he always orders the chicken fajitas. So that was interesting. So I played a couple shoes. First one I made $25, second one I lost $25, third one I lost $25. It was pretty flat the whole time, and I thought it was time for me to spring the trap here, to try a little bit of social engineering. And I said, man, are you sure you're doing this right? I said, as soon as I get a couple good hands, you end the shoe. The shoes are so short, are you sure? And he goes, I can give you a little bit more, but I'm supposed to do it in half. So he gave me a little bit better penetration. So now I'm playing like, you know, 5/8 of a shoe left or so. not quite half, but you know, I'm playing 1 3/8, so it's not bad. Actually puts it back in my advantage again. So I continue to play, and I said, well, you know, things aren't going well. I've been here for about 45 minutes. If I can just get up a couple $100 at the end of a shoe, I'm going to leave. And I get up 475, and I don't leave. Someone comes to the table. He says, I'm only going to play one hand, right? I'm only going to play one hand. He has a $20 voucher, and it's a $50 table. He buys in for $300. Why did he buy in for $300? I have no damn clue. He buys in for $300. He wants $275 in green and $25 in red. So then he bets the $30 on top of his 20 for $50 when he could have just bought in for $30. He wins the hand, and he colors up and he leaves. And he said, don't go to two hands, because whenever I do this, the person wins the next hand. I lost every hand for that whole shoe. So it got me back to about even again. And then now he was gone, out of my way. And I keep on play, you know, 3 more shoes probably, and finally get up at the end of a shoe. I was ahead $625, so plus $625. I looked at more slots, couldn't find anything else, so that was all I could do in there. Plus $625 on the blackjack, plus 9 on the slot machines, and now we're moving on to another place. So letting you go for now, and I'll be back. Okay guys, I am back. I go into this place and I see one machine right away, fizzles out pretty quickly, ends up being nothing. Ended up losing $9 on that one, and looked around, really didn't see anything else. Decided to go into this back corner where the Asians usually hang out. There's one machine that they just love, and I've never been able to find a play at it, never ever been able to find it in position, but they like it because they can play this machine for 3 to 6 hours plus, chasing a dream, and they can all hang out, take turns playing the machine and stuff like that. I finally found it in position for the first time ever, and I was a little worried about playing it because I didn't know what to expect or how long or anything like that, but it went the way that I expected it to, so I was pretty happy and pretty fortunate probably. But I looked around, really didn't see anything else. I didn't really even see anyone checking any machines in there, but everything looked pretty miserable. It was pretty quiet in there, not a lot of people, and you know, I can see why. The weather is just not very good. It's still raining, you know, so it's a Friday afternoon, so it should be picking up, but I didn't even realize it was Friday. I just knew that on my list today I was supposed to go to this city and this area. I try to do that in advance unless something weird happens, like something gets added to my schedule, or you know, some big snowstorm comes in or something like that. But anyway, I ended up ahead $176 for that place, and I'm moving on. And I wanted to mention something weird yesterday. You know, a few days ago I was in a city where there was a little bit of light snow and it wasn't really accumulating or anything. The city I was in yesterday is only about 60 miles further away than where I was, and they must have had 4 or 5 inches of snow there a couple days ago. I was very shocked, actually. I didn't think that this area had gotten that much snow yet, but anyway, it's interesting. I was also thinking about the range that I go, and from north to south to east to west. I mean, if you were gonna take a trip around the perimeter of it, how many hours it would be ridiculous. But even just from north to south, I'm looking at, oh my gosh, 7 hours, and from east to west, 10 hours, maybe 10 and a half hours. So I go quite a long range, and it's interesting that I know people, players and dealers and pit bosses at all the places I go to, and believe me, it's because I do what I do that everyone, well, not everyone, some people ridicule me for not taking enough money from the casinos, that's afforded me the opportunity to make this much money. And when I hit my milestone at the end of this year, I'll let you know. But it's going to be a big one, and I'm really excited. We're the first day of December now, 2023, of course, and I should be at 229,000 if I'm on pace. I don't know if I am or not, because I only update it about once every week or once every 2 weeks. But I've got a call coming in. But I need to do that, and I'll let you know probably this weekend. So I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. So I went into the next spot, and as soon as I went in there, it was way busier than the spot before. I walked in, started looking around, saw some things in position, but people were sitting on those machines, so I thought I'd just come back and take a look again. I went into the back area and found a small play that someone had left. Played that through, made about $25 or so. Then I found another play and lost about, I don't know, 30 maybe on that one. That was a little bit frustrating. And then from there was really nothing else. And then toward the end, as I was getting ready to leave, I found one more play at $6 a spin and hit that almost right away. It took me like $60 to hit that, and that paid a couple hundred. And I saw a few people that I knew in there, but not too many, not many people that knew what they were doing anyway. But finally the rain has stopped here. I just left a minute ago, plus 129. So the rain is gone. The roads are still wet. It's starting to get dark right now. Temperature's at 50 degrees, so don't have to worry about any kind of ice or anything. But just it being wet and dark is not fun. But I am moving on to another place right now. So at that last place, there was someone who wanted to go to the next place, but they didn't have a ride back. So I would have given them a ride there, but I'm not going to drive 45 minutes back. So I said, I can't help you unless you can get a ride back, and they didn't have anyone, so they gave me their player's card to play it for them, and I promised them whatever I got, I would give it to them. I hate to do that. I don't like doing that because I don't want to look like I'm multi-carding, but we're talking about peanuts here, a really small amount of money, so that's all right. Let me see what else has been going on. I was kind of contemplating whether or not to talk about it or not, but the new Blackjack apprenticeship video came out, and they're talking with Gina Fiore RXGamble, and I don't know. It's like I look at all the things that she's accomplished, and I feel like she could have done so much more with her talent. But I kind of feel, I mean, what do I know, right? I mean, she made, a lot of money, did a lot of things, went to a lot of places, and now she's got a child, and she's got to work around having the child there. But it seems like she has so much talent and has so much more time left. I'm thinking she may go back to casinos again. Right now, she's doing just sports betting, and it's something that's the way she's doing it. A lot of people can do it. I don't see how you can make huge amounts of money. How are you going to get your bets down? That's my question, is without having multiple accounts and being told not to come back anymore, or having your maximum bet reduced to a ridiculously low number. I just don't understand how you get the bets down. So the only thing I can think of is maybe having multiple accounts, or having people in different places placing bets for you. And that worries me because, of course, you know, placing bets for you across state lines is supposed to be a big deal. But the impression that I got this time in watching this video and in past times that I've heard her talk about it, makes me think that she's doing it all online. And I just wonder who is taking this action. You know, and I know you can make a lot of money with all the bonuses you can get from it, but I'm not fully understanding. Now, in case you don't know that much about RXGamble, she was part of Blackjack apprenticeship. She was a card counter, one of the very few females that do that, and she was successful, very successful, and went to high limits and stuff with it. And then one day someone showed her hole carding, and of course hole carding is when you can see the dealer's bottom card or cards, and you know what they have, and you can use that in blackjack. And of course you can make a ton of money doing it in blackjack. But then there are what's called the carnival games, and in carnival games you're talking about very low limit bets usually. Some places have $100 or $200 or $500 limits for these games because they can have bonuses that can pay large amounts, you know, 5 to 1, 10 to 1, 30 to 1, and up from there. And so if you know, for example, let's take 3-card poker. If you know one of the 3 cards that the dealer has, then there's a very simple chart that you can use to determine whether or not to play your hand. It's very simple, very easy. You can make a lot of money, and it doesn't have to be the person that sees the card that makes the big bet. It could be a person across the table who is signaled, or multiple people, or everyone at the table who takes the chance or doesn't take the chance on a certain hand and has the advantage. Now, I've even heard of Asian people who have taken up the whole table and communicated to each other what cards they have, and by process of elimination figure out if the dealer could have an ace or not. If the dealer doesn't have an ace, you know, then the odds of, you know, it changes the odds obviously, and you're going to bet accordingly. It's very interesting. Obviously sharing that information with each other. You're not supposed to do that. You may be breaking rules, all that kind of stuff. But when you're hole carding, the way that the law is written, the way it's been determined by a court, is that anything that you can see because the dealer exposed it, without going to great lengths, like for example, I'm not going to put a camera in my cuff and see the dealer's card, and then someone in a van is going to, you know, tell me what the card is. That's cheating. But if I'm just sitting there or hunched over or short and I see something, let's say I see the dealer has a 6 underneath in blackjack and they have a face up and I have a 16, normally I'm supposed to, without worrying about deviations, I'm supposed to hit it. But if I know that they have, let's say, a 6 or an 8 underneath, I may change what I do based on that information. And the way the courts have ruled is, since you can see it without doing anything unusual or you know, out of the ordinary, you're allowed to use that to your advantage. So if I know the dealer has a 19 and I have a 17 and I hit it, which I wouldn't do because it's going to bring attention, but the court have determined that that's not cheating because you know you're losing anyway, and choosing to hit it is okay because you saw that without doing anything sneaky, so to speak, right? My words. So, you know, she did a lot of stuff with hole carding, and I believe I remember, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong here, that she actually taught classes for a while about hole carding. And I think, you know, hole carding, it's definitely something you learn, but I think the biggest part of hole carding, other than seeing the card, is knowing how to play it. Games like 3-card poker is easy. Other games may be a lot harder. Blackjack is a little bit harder. Hold'em, on the table version, Mississippi Stud, Let It Ride. Those all are going to have different complexities, obviously, to the game. But if you have all those memorized, and you have one dealer that's hopping from table to table, giving people breaks, you could follow that dealer or have your people waiting at the next table and be taking advantage of that dealer all the time. And I had one trip that I took for something like that, and it worked out pretty well. I'm not an expert by any means, but so anyway, I did hear the interview with Colin, and I was kind of floored that she really downplayed everything that she did. I think she did some incredible things, and she should definitely be praised for it, but I still think that she has a lot left in her, and she could do some even more incredible things in the future. She even mentioned that she figured out a play for herself that other people hadn't published, so that was interesting. So anyway, I'm going to let you go for now. I'm going to move on to the next spot here, and then I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. I forgot to mention about RXGamble, about the lawsuit that she had, where she was coming back, I believe, from Puerto Rico through Atlanta and to Las Vegas, and they had, I think, 109,000 or something like that, and security saw it, and then a DA decided he wanted to get famous and bust some people, and of course, her money is legal and she files taxes on it and all that, but they confiscated the money and made them work really hard to get the money back. And if it was me, it would have almost put me out of business. If I was going to lose 109,000 of my bankroll, now I got to reduce my betting amounts. I got to do all different things to cope with that, or I got to borrow money. But luckily, she and her group were okay. They were able to continue, and the case actually went all the way to the Supreme Court. It didn't go their way, but I feel like she is laying the foundation for some future lawsuits that are going to go our way, and it's going to make a big difference. Her lawsuit was primarily based on jurisdiction, where you could sue someone if you're coming from Puerto Rico and you're going to Las Vegas, and then something happens in Atlanta. Can you sue in Nevada where you're going? Do you need to sue in Las Vegas? How does that work? So that's the kind of stuff that was being worked out in that case. But I have the utmost respect for her, and I wish her well in the future. Maybe one day we'll cross paths. That would be awesome. So anyway, I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back. Well, played my friends a few dollars in free play and turned it into $46. And then played my cash and lost money. So, that was interesting. And the funny thing is, I played their free play on just a generic machine because I didn't want people to see me switching cards on a machine that's beatable. And they won money. And then I played a $2.40 machine, and I had I'll tell you exactly, not over. I had 799 spins in a row that paid less than my bet. Let that sink in. 799 at $2.40. So I was completely buried, and I was chasing one jackpot on the machine, and it took so long that the other jackpot got in range. So I ended up chasing both of them, and I was involved for 1,200, plus I was ahead a little bit when I got there, so call it 1,300 at one point, and I was down as much as about 1,250, 1,270, and I ended up leaving finally minus 109, which is just a big miracle that happened. because I was just thinking, oh man, I just wiped out my whole day's work on this one machine. And you know, there's certain formulas that tell you that if something happened on the machine, and even though it's in range, you're not supposed to play it. This twice I've ignored it and been wrong. So it's my fault, I guess. However, my friend, you know who you are, who we saw each other recently, and you gave me some new information about a machine. I have played it 3 times since you gave me that information. Only found it in range 3 times. And twice I made money, and once I just about broke even within $1. So it definitely is better than what I had. But what I had was something that we had built over time. And it had to do with the machines that I played at the locations that I played. So it's easy to say that it doesn't fit into a generic structure because, you know, I'm not using numbers from the factory. I'm using numbers from a couple casinos that I play, and it was a mixture of the results of all those that led me to play it the way that I did. So, and it worked for me for a very long time, and it wasn't until just recently that I started being mostly good, but had some bigger losses than I liked. Anyway, on that machine specifically that we're talking about, with the new numbers, I played it at a 1 cent level at the minimum bet, and a 5 cent level at the minimum bet, and you know what that is. And I ended up ahead $280 on that, so I appreciate that help. So anyway, when I walk in, I see one machine, one carousel that has 3 machines, and I like to check those, but there's a lot of people checking today, and people that I've seen before but not here. And then the kingpin, the guy in charge over here, he came up to me later on, but I came up to him actually, but he saw me, and he said, "Oh, I saw you playing that machine earlier." And I'm like, "Yeah." So what happened was, I walk in, I checked one machine, it was empty, and there was no plays on it. I checked the next machine. I'm going to check the next machine. I sit down in the seat just as another AP is walking up. He looked at me, he's like, "You can have it." And within 2 minutes, I was ahead like 275, 250, 255 on it. And now I'm actually thinking I may have lost $20 more. Gotta think about that. But anyway, he's like, "You can have it." And so I'm up like 255 right away, and then it's still in range, and I keep on playing. I end up leaving that machine up 60. That's when I went to the machine that gave me all the problems. All in all, not terrible. Between the play I did for me and the other person, there's only a loss of about $60, so I can live with that. Now I have to think about, did I put a 20 in the first machine? I don't think so. I think that was a different place. No, I did it right. So I am minus 109 on the machines at this location. And moving on right now, it's pitch black outside. I'm almost out of gas, so I'm going to start looking for a gas station. I know there's a gas station coming up, but I don't know if I have the range to get there. I have 40 miles range, so let me see what exit number I'm up to here in a little bit and see if I can make it to that exit. If not, I'll stop anywhere, but it's a lot cheaper there than anywhere else. So letting you go for now. I'll be back. Alright guys, do I gamble? I am 43 miles away from the gas station, and I have 39 miles range. Do I go for it? That is the question. Now there is a gas station 7 miles before that one. I could always use that as my way out in case I don't make it. But the first part of my journey is all uphill, and then most of the rest of the trip is downhill, so I may be able to stretch it that far. I'm going to pop it in the GPS and watch it for a while. It'll give me, this is like watching a basketball game and betting on it, except I don't bet on sports, and we'll see what happens. Now, I want to also explain, I told you my friend lost yesterday, I ended up losing about 25% of my stake, but I have another guy playing tonight, and I'm going to see how he does. I just moved it all over to him, and we'll see how that goes. So hopefully we'll get some of it back. I think in the long term, with these two guys, I'll be fine. I'll make money long term. I don't like watching stuff day to day, but unfortunately, the way this works, unless you enter into a long-term contract, it is going to be one session at a time. And I trust them. It's also all on record because the amount is so high, so I could look it up if I wanted to, but I think everything is fine. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to ride or die right now temporarily on this gas situation, and I'll be back in a little while in case you want to know. All right, guys, I am back. All right, who had the over, who had the under? Would I make it or would I not make it? I made it to the gas station with 1 mile to spare of gas, 1 mile to spare. And that's according to what the car says. It might have been a couple more miles, really, that I could have made it. But, there you go. That's my gambling for the day. The rest of the day was investing. So, anyway, it was a good day. It's so dark now. There's no moon out or anything. Heading home. At this point, I'm about half an hour away from home. Gonna have a nice weekend with the family, and next week I'm gonna be traveling. It's gonna be a big week for me. I'm going to gamble on Monday. I am going to be flying and gambling Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm going to be gambling. Thursday, I have a bunch of meetings for this guy who's leaving work that I have to pick up his slack. So I'm going to be doing a couple of meetings while I'm gambling. Friday's going to be a big gambling day, and then we'll be home. So I don't know what to expect. I'm going to be like 80% slots, but my goal is going to remain 5,000 for the week, and we'll see what happens. This week it looks like, I'm just guessing, we're at like 8,200 or something like that is my guess. Today was a little bit over 1,000, maybe 1,100. So we had a good week this week. Short day today, not much action today, but hey, we'll take it whatever we can, keep moving in the right direction. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to get in touch with me. mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.